Hello, hi, a very happy good evening. So this is Krishnaveni and we've been talking about the story of life on earth, and that's biology. So welcome to my lecture. For all those who are new to my lecture, so Monday, Wednesday, Friday I teach a class 12 chapter, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday I teach a class 11 chapter. So thank you so much for joining my lecture on time. So please don't forget to like, share and subscribe. So once again, so please share the link with your friends, because yes, at least 1 out of the 100 will benefit out of this lecture, because it's a free platform and you get quality lectures from Kota. So please do let them know that eCareerPoint is having a channel, and here we are talking about the entire syllabus of NEET Biology, both class 11 and class 12. Okay, so today we are in the last chapter of human physiology as a part of your syllabus wrap-up series. So today we are talking about your chemical coordination and integration. So basically we're going to talk about the endocrine glands. So we're going to talk about hormones today. So this is a very interesting chapter, and as well as this is a very important chapter, because out of the 7 chapters in human physiology, so this chapter has the maximum weightage. So this chapter has a weightage of almost 4%. So first, the chapter of importance will be your chemical coordination and integration. The next chapter will be digestion and absorption, which has a weightage of 2%. So, digestion and absorption has a weightage of 3%, and chemical coordination and integration has a weightage of almost 4%. So, this chapter is very important with respect to your human physiology. So, the weightage of this chapter is 4%. Okay. So please make sure you don't miss this chapter, you don't leave this chapter in options. This is a very important chapter. You will have nearly 3 to 4 questions from this chapter, so it is an easy go. It is not that tough that you have to eliminate this chapter, okay? Hi Antonia B, yes, a very happy good evening. How are you doing? Good. So thank you for joining my lecture. Hi Shimpi, yes, a very happy good evening. Yes, I am doing good. How are you all? Good. Is it raining in your places? All safe? So please stay safe, because third wave of corona is spreading across. So please stay safe with a lot of caution, and please take care of your health. And if you're a person who is very bad at eating, so please take some precautions. So eat foods which are only made at home and which are only suitable to you. Okay? Yes. So the announcement for tomorrow. So tomorrow 5 p.m. we are continuing with human reproduction. So yesterday I explained the structure of your male and female reproductive system. So tomorrow we'll continue with gametogenesis and fertilization. So tomorrow at 5 p.m. join me for the lecture 2 of human reproduction. Okay. So now let's talk about your chemical control and coordination. So we have 9 endocrine glands. So we are going to talk about the secretions of each of these endocrine glands. The secretion of the endocrine glands are known as hormones. Okay. Yes, Naveen. Hello. Hi. I hope you're doing good. So thank you so much for joining my lecture. So please do like, share and subscribe. So let's go into the chapter. So lecture 1 of chemical coordination and integration. So what is it we are going to talk about today? So the first thing we're going to talk about is endocrine glands and hormones. So I'm going to define what is an endocrine gland. I'm going to define what is a hormone. Then we're going to talk about the human endocrine system. So each of the endocrine system and the function of their hormone in detail. Then we're going to talk about the hormones of the heart, kidney and GIT. So GIT stands for gastrointestinal tract. You can ask me, ma'am, heart, kidney and GIT are not endocrine glands. Definitely they are not. So heart and kidney are organs. So gland is different and organ is different. I hope you know the difference. So organ is one which has a function apart from secretion, but glands are a group of tissues which are only involved in secretion. Okay, that is your gland. The largest gland is your liver and the largest organ is your skin. So at the end we will talk about the mechanism of hormone action. Yes, the hormones are produced. Then how do they proceed? So what is their way of mechanism? What is the mechanism of action? How does it act on the target organ? So that is the next part of the lecture. Okay. So let's see how much we can cover today. So with this, let's move forward. So I hope all of you know the difference between what are endocrine glands and what are exocrine glands. Yes. Okay. So I told you glands are a group of tissue which secrete something. So we have 2 types of glands, endocrine and exocrine. So what is the main difference between endocrine and exocrine? So right now we are in a status that everyone has a 2-wheeler at home, right? So moving to the much higher level, so all of us at least have a small car at home, right? So in today's world, so this has become a necessity. Suppose if you want to travel to a nearby place which is 3 hours away from your place, so some people prefer going by their own vehicle, some people prefer traveling by the public transport. Okay, say for example, I am in Kota, I want to go to Delhi. So I don't have a car, so I have to use the public transport, which is the train or which is the flight. Of course, flight is not there from Kota to Delhi. Suppose I either use a cab or I take a bus or I can take a train, right? But I am depending on the public transport. Yes? So, something similar to that is your endocrine gland. So, endocrine gland does not have a vehicle on its own. So, it has to use the public transport. So, the secretions of endocrine glands are known as hormones. The hormones are released into the common bloodstream. So, they don't have their own transport. Whereas, exocrine glands whose secretions are known as juices. So, they have their own car, they have their own vehicle, okay. So, this is your, they have what is known as your ducts. So, exocrine glands are ducted glands, whereas your endocrine glands are ductless glands. So, they don't have a vehicle on their own. So, this is endocrine glands, okay. Yes, fine. So, this is the main difference between endocrine and exocrine. So, since I told you both the glands secrete something, the secretions of your endocrine glands are hormones. The secretions of your exocrine are juices. For example, your pancreas produces pancreatic juices. But pancreas is also an organ, right? And it moves through the pancreatic duct. Right? Okay. Now, endocrine gland secretion are known as hormones. So, now how do I define hormones? So, hormones are a group of chemical messengers, okay. They are known as intercellular messengers. They are intercellular, meaning they are present between two cells. They help in the communication between two cells, that is intercellular messengers, okay. And they are always produced in trace amounts. The hormones are never high in level. So, if you have high concentration of hormones, that means you are suffering from a disorder, right. So, hormones are always in trace amounts. So, this is the introduction of endocrine glands and what are hormones, okay. Yes, Dharni, a very happy good evening. So, thank you so much for joining my lecture. So, please do like, share and subscribe. So, I guess Naveen has asked me some doubt in Telegram. So, sorry Naveen, I'll get back to you after the lecture, okay. So, this is the introduction. So, now let's move forward. So, endocrine glands are the one which does not have a duct, so which does not have a car or a vehicle on its own. So, their secretions are known as hormones. So, hormones are non-nutrient chemicals which act as intercellular messengers and they are produced in trace amounts. So, the human endocrine system. So, this is the human endocrine system. So, what all it is and where it starts? We have 9 endocrine systems. We start from the head. So, first is the hypothalamus. Next, we have the pituitary. So, pituitary gland is known as the master gland. So, then we have pineal. Then we have thyroid. So, then we have parathyroid gland. Then we have thymus. So, we have pancreas. Number 8, we have adrenal gland. And number 9, we have gonads. So, gonads are separate in male and female. So, we have ovary and we have testis. Okay, so these are the 9 glands. So, please go in this order so it is easy for you to remember. Start from here, hypothalamus followed by pituitary. Then in the brain itself, you have pineal gland. So, when you talk about thyroid gland, please remember parathyroid as well. And then just beneath that, you have your thymus. Then you have your pancreas and the adrenal gland, okay. So, then you have the gonads, that is female, in female it is ovary, in male it is the testis, okay. In Telegram, how can I ask doubt to you? So, we have the eCareerPoint Telegram group, right. So, please join the eCareerPoint Telegram group. So, you can put the doubt in that question itself because you have so many expert faculties who will get back to your doubt. Otherwise, find me and you can ping me the doubt if I will try explaining that doubt to you. Okay? Yes? So you can ask Naveen how he is asking that, so he might help, he might guide you in a better way. Okay? Yes. So these are the 9 gonads. So first we will start from hypothalamus. So we'll go in order. We'll talk about the particular gland along with the secretion, that is the hormone. Okay? So first we start with your hypothalamus, right? So hypothalamus, where it is located. So we know where the hypothalamus is located. So the location of hypothalamus is in the forebrain, right? So recently we read, so hypothalamus is located in the forebrain. So forebrain is also known as diencephalon, right? So in your forebrain you have your cerebrum. So cerebrum enfolds the thalamus. On the base of thalamus we have your hypothalamus. So this is your hypothalamus. So the cells of the hypothalamus are known as neurosecretory cells. So these neurosecretory cells secrete 2 types of hormones. So what are the 2 types of hormones? So we have releasing hormone or stimulating hormone. The other type is your inhibiting hormone. So the example for releasing or stimulating hormone is your GnRH. So GnRH stands for gonadotropin releasing hormone. So what does this do? So this hormone, it induces the pituitary gland to release the gonads. So it is a type of hormone which is stimulating some other gland to release a particular hormone. So it is stimulating the release of another set of hormones. So inhibiting hormone is somatostatin. So somatostatin, when released by the hypothalamus, acts on your pituitary gland and stops the production of your growth hormone. So this stimulates your pituitary gland to produce a particular hormone known as gonadotropins. Clear? So this is the structure and function of your hypothalamus. So hypothalamus produces 2 types of hormones. So just remember this. Okay? Done? So this is what is written on my slide here. It is present in the basal part of diencephalon, that is known as your forebrain. So it releases, it synthesizes a releasing hormone or a stimulating hormone. Also it does an inhibiting hormone, that is your somatostatin. Okay. So moving forward, so now let's talk about the pineal gland. So that is very short, so we'll finish it off. So pineal gland is located on the dorsal side of the forebrain. Okay. So this is also in the forebrain along with your hypothalamus. So pineal gland secretes only one hormone, that is melatonin. So what is the role of melatonin? Regulation of the 24-hour cycle. Okay. So that is the rhythm of the body. So the day and night cycles, the sleep-wake cycle along with temperature. It also influences metabolism. So there are some people who eat a lot but they still look very slim. There are some people who once eat something with high calorie, so they become very fat. They put on a lot of weight, right? So this is your metabolism. So what influences your metabolism is melatonin. So metabolism, it also influences your pigmentation, your menstrual cycle and your defense capabilities. Hi Swami, yes, a very happy good evening. So welcome to my lecture. So please do like, share and subscribe. So this is your pineal gland. So now we want to talk about the parathyroid gland. So before we talk about the parathyroid gland, so we have been talking about the hypothalamus first. So hypothalamus produces 2 types of hormones. So one is releasing or stimulating hormone. So it also produces inhibitory hormones. So please remember the examples. Here the example is GnRH. So here the example is somatostatin. The next gland that we spoke about is your pineal gland. So pineal gland produces only one hormone, that is melatonin. Right? Done? So now the next topic that we are going to talk about is your parathyroid gland. Ma'am, we haven't spoken about thyroid gland. Yes, I know it isn't that tough. So parathyroid gland. So it is present on your thyroid gland. It is present on your thyroid gland. So we have two lobes of your thyroid gland. So this is one lobe, this is one lobe. This is one lobe, this is one lobe of your thyroid gland. So on each lobe you have one pair of parathyroid. So this is your parathyroid gland. This is your parathyroid gland. So in a nutshell, we have two pairs of parathyroid gland. Okay? Fine. So this parathyroid gland produces one type of hormone that is known as parathrombone. Sorry, it is known as parathyroid hormone. So this is known as PTH. Okay? Retrovirus have a RNA but inhibits DNA, ma'am. No, retrovirus are the genetic material of retrovirus is RNA, but they can do reverse transcription to become DNA. But what is your question? I don't understand. So we call something as retrovirus because it is capable of doing the process of reverse transcription. Suppose if the coronavirus is a retrovirus, the genetic material of coronavirus is single-stranded RNA. If it's entering the body of a human, the human has DNA as the genetic material. So DNA is replicated and transcribed, right? So directly the genetic material of RNA cannot get translated. So it has to get attached with the genome of the human. So it becomes a DNA and gets attached with the DNA or the genome of the human or the host, and then it undergoes the central dogma of life. So did I answer your question? So, or can you reframe your question for me? So till this it's clear to everyone? Yes, no doubts? Can I proceed? Yes, can we proceed forward? Okay, so this is your parathyroid gland. So we have two lobes of your thyroid gland. On each lobe you have a pair of parathyroid glands. So you have two pairs of parathyroid glands. So it produces only one hormone that is known as parathyroid hormone. So what is the role of this hormone? So this hormone increases the blood calcium levels. So how does it increase the blood calcium levels? Number one, so it increases the blood calcium levels by bone reabsorption, because bones have calcium salts, by the absorption of calcium from the food. Number 3, by the reabsorption by renal tubules. So all these ways it tries to increase the blood calcium levels. So this is the function of your parathyroid hormone. Okay. Okay, fine. In HIV too. Okay, so HIV also has a single-stranded RNA as a genetic material. So HIV virus is also a retrovirus. So it does reverse transcriptase in our body so that the genetic material gets accommodated in the genome of the host. Okay. So first the HIV infects the macrophages. So macrophages start producing more HIV viruses. So it is known as the HIV factory. Okay, done? Okay, so this is the function of your parathyroid hormone. It is hypercalcemic hormone because it increases the blood calcium level. So it is known as hypercalcemic hormone. Clear? So we are done with 3 glands now. Out of the 9, we are done with 3. So we'll talk about 3 more in detail. So let's see how much time we have left. Okay. So I am done with pineal gland. So I explained thyroid gland. We have 4 thyroid glands or 2 pairs of thyroid glands. So this is how it is. So this is one lobe, this is the other lobe. In each lobe you have a pair of thyroid gland. So thyroid gland secretes only one hormone, that is parathyroid hormone. It increases the circulating levels of calcium. Hi Grace, so thank you so much for joining my lecture. So please do like, share and subscribe. So how does it increase? By the bone reabsorption. reabsorption of the renal tubules, also by the absorption from the food particles. So it is known as hypercalcemic hormone. Okay. So moving further, so we talk about the next one, that is the master gland, pituitary. So first I will explain with the help of a whiteboard, and then we'll go to the theory that is present in my slide. So we are talking about the pituitary gland. So pituitary gland is known as your master endocrine gland. So pituitary gland is located in a particular cavity or depression known as sella turcica. Okay. So pituitary gland is anatomically divided into two regions. So I write pituitary gland like this. It is anatomically divided into two regions, the anterior region and the posterior region. So the anterior region is also known as adenohypophysis, and the posterior region is known as neurohypophysis. Okay, so hypophysis means your pituitary gland. So your anterior pituitary, that is adenohypophysis, it is divided into two parts. One is pars distalis and the other one is pars intermedia. So neurohypophysis produces, it has two types of hormones. Neurohypophysis only stores the hormone. It does not produce any hormone. So what are the two hormones that it stores? Number one, it is known as vasopressin or ADH, and the other hormone is oxytocin. So your hypothalamus produces these two hormones and it is stored in your pituitary, especially in the posterior pituitary, that is your neurohypophysis. Now talking about your adenohypophysis. So your adenohypophysis, so first I am talking about pars distalis. So pars distalis produces 6 types of hormones. The first one is your growth hormone. So then we have prolactin. So then we have thyroid stimulating hormone. So then we have your adenocorticotropic hormone. So then we have your gonads, LH and FSH. So do we have 6 hormones? So these are the 6 hormones produced by your anterior pituitary. Out of this, your LH and FSH are known as gonadotropins. So your GnRH from your hypothalamus, so it acts on the pituitary to release your LH and FSH. Okay. So talking about your pars intermedia. So pars intermedia produces only one hormone, that is melanocyte stimulating hormone. So is the structure of pituitary clear now? Yes, the classification of hormones is clear to everyone. Any doubt? Should I explain once again? Yes, should I explain once again? Is it clear to everyone? So can we proceed? Yes? Okay, so I hope the pituitary hormones are clear. So now we will talk about the function of each of these hormones. Okay? So talking about the pituitary gland. So your growth hormone. So these are the hormones. So your LH stands for luteinizing hormone. FSH stands for follicle stimulating hormone. So hi Sandhya Mohan, a very happy good evening. So thank you so much for joining my lecture. So please do like, share and subscribe. So I hope your preparations are going on fine, because are you a 2021 aspirant? So Grace, how is your preparation going on? So at least are you guys strong with bio? So bio forms the base. So out of 360, you can easily score 350. So it is not tough because you have been studying for almost a year with me. So 350 should be your target in bio. So you don't have to be overconfident. So our safer zone is 350. So 350 is a must. Okay. So make sure you do not make any silly mistakes by which you have negative markings. At the same time, don't be overconfident as well. So don't aim for 360, aim for 350 in biology. So that will give you a good base. Yes, the competition will be higher. So I'm not scaring you. I'm just telling you the present scenario. Okay. So if the NEET question paper is easy, the competition is very high. Very, very high because everyone has been preparing. Right? So no one had other school exams, nothing. So everyone is equally preparing for NEET exam. So if the paper is easy, the competition is high. So you can expect 720 out of 720 as well. If the paper is tough, it is tough for you as well. So then you have to be very, very conscious. But I don't think it will be tough. It's gonna be easy. So give your best. That is the best thing. Okay? So don't worry about the rest. So here we talk about your functions of the hormones. So hormones of pituitary, so GH. Okay, let me explain here. So we are talking about the hormones of pars distalis. So pars distalis, NEET want to be tough. I don't think NEET will be tough, so it will be the same thing. Fine. Yes, Tamar Saran. So I guess your name is Sureka. So welcome and thank you for joining my lecture. So guys, please do like, share and subscribe. So we are talking about the first hormone, that is your growth hormone. So growth hormone is involved in normal growth, right? So it helps in the development of your body, that is the primary growth. Bone reabsorption in the use of parathyroid gland. Okay. So your bones are made up of calcium and chondroitin salts, right? So that is why the matrix of your bone is very, very hard, right? That is why you're not able to bend your bones, but you can bend your cartilage. So cartilage are made up of your chondroitin salts, the bone is made up of calcium and phosphate salts. So it has a tough matrix. So the bone has a rich amount of calcium. So to have a high blood calcium level. So why should you have a high blood calcium level? So calcium is needed for a lot of purpose. You know calcium plays a role in your mitotic spindle, right? So calcium also helps in the contraction of muscle. So it takes up calcium from the bones as well. So that is why they say the bones have to be strong, because bones also lend calcium to the blood levels. Okay. So once your calcium is present, so calcium has to be present in the blood sugar level to some extent. Okay. So the parathyroid hormone takes up calcium from the bone as well. It also reabsorbs the filtrate from the renal tubules. It also absorbs calcium from the food that we eat. Okay. Yes. Cutoff will become a major issue. In both the cases, it's going to be tough. In both the cases, in my analysis, it's going to be tough. If the NEET paper is tough, a lot of students are going to suffer. So if it's going to be easy, so again, the competition is going to be very high. Okay. So resorption means reabsorption to some extent. Okay. Yes. Fine. Yes. No worries. So you will all score good marks. Fine. So growth hormone, it is involved in normal growth. So if you have high amount of growth hormone, so that is gigantism. So the person will be gigantic. So like the Hagrid in Harry Potter. So if the growth hormone is less, so that will cause dwarfism. So an increase in growth hormone in your adults can lead to a condition known as acromegaly. So acromegaly can be detected in the late stage, so it can sometimes be very fatal as well. Okay. So the next hormone is your prolactin. So prolactin helps in the development of your mammary glands. So it also helps in the secretion of milk. So secretion of milk inside your mammary glands, meaning your lactiferous ducts have your milk, okay? But the ejection of milk from the mammary glands is because of oxytocin. Don't confuse both, okay? So number 3 is your thyroid stimulating hormone. So these hormones act on the thyroid gland to produce the thyroid hormones, that is T3 and T4. Okay. Yes, calcium is also needed in clotting factor. Yes, absolutely right. Very good. So number 4, adrenocorticotropic hormone. So these stimulate the cortex region of the adrenal gland to produce its hormone. So then we have the gonadotropins, that is FSH and your LH. So FS and LH has a different role in your male and female. The roles are pretty separate. So in your males, so first let's talk about the roles of gonadotropins in your males. So we know what are Leydig cells from yesterday's lecture. So Leydig cells are interstitial cells present between two seminiferous tubules in your testes. Right? So LH hormone, luteinizing hormone, acts on your Leydig cells to produce hormones known as testosterone. So testosterone are collectively known as androgens. So your FSH combines with these androgens to stimulate the process of spermatogenesis. That is the production of male gametes. Okay. So now how does the gonadotropins act in females? So your LH helps in the maturation of your Graafian follicles or your follicles, maturation of follicles. It also helps in the formation of corpus luteum. So it also, and your FSH helps in the development of these follicles. So we will talk about the development of follicles in tomorrow's lecture. Okay. So this helps in the development of these follicles. So this is the role of all the 6 hormones in your pars distalysis. Okay. Yes. Yes, I will revise plant physiology. Yes, definitely. I will not leave any chapter like that. I will discuss at least in one day. I will have 2 classes and finish off. Don't worry. Okay. Yes, Kalpita, a very, very happy good evening. So thank you so much for joining my lecture. So please do like, share and subscribe. Okay. So now talking about the hormones of your anterior pituitary. So what are the hormones of your anterior pituitary? So this I have explained. So I will explain about the hormones of neurohypophysis. So it stores 2 hormones. One is your vasopressin or your antidiuretic hormone, that is ADH, right? So vasopressin or ADH produced by the hypothalamus, secreted by the pituitary gland. It acts on the renal tubule, especially the distal convoluted tubule, to conditionally reabsorb water and sodium ions. So it conditionally reabsorbs water and sodium ions. Okay. Yes. So reabsorbs water and sodium ions. So this is your renal tubule. Sorry, this is your vasopressin or your antidiuretic hormone. So if this hormone is absent, so this leads to diabetic insipidus. Fine. Yes. So number 2, it is oxytocin. So oxytocin acts on the smooth muscles of the uterus. So yesterday we spoke about the smooth muscles of the uterus. What is the smooth muscles of the uterus? So it is myometrium or mesometrium, right? So this is at the time of child delivery. So these are the 2 hormones of your neurohypophysis. Okay. So let's move forward. So let's talk about one more gland, that is thyroid gland, and we'll finish it off. So we are done with 4 glands. So now we're talking about thyroid gland, that is the 5th gland. So as I said, you have 2 lobes, the right and the left lobe of thyroid gland, right? So thyroid gland, the 2 lobes are connected by what is known as your isthmus. So isthmus is the connective tissue that connects both the lobes of your thyroid gland. So thyroid gland is made up of follicles and stromal tissues. So each thyroid follicle has follicular cells and they secrete 2 hormones, tetraiodothyroxine or thyroxine or triiodothyroxine. Okay, so it is T3 and T4. As you can see, both of them need iodine for their normal synthesis. The deficiency of this hormone is known as hypothyroidism, and you also have enhanced production of this hormone, that is hyperthyroidism. So hyperthyroidism is you have increase in size, you have the formation of cancer. So I will explain this, don't worry. So we are talking about the thyroid gland. So thyroid gland has two lobes like this. So right lobe and the left lobe. So both the lobes are joined by a thin flap of connective tissue. So that is known as your isthmus. So the thyroid gland is composed of stromal tissues and follicles. The follicles are made of follicular cells. Okay, so these follicular cells, they secrete hormones. There are two hormones. One is known as tetraiodothyroxine. This is also known as only thyroxine. So the other one is triiodothyroxine. So both of these need the normal synthesis of iodine. Okay. So sometimes you can have increased production of this hormone, increased production of your T3 and T4. So this condition is known as your hyperthyroidism. Okay. So sometimes it can be produced in less amount. So that is known as hypothyroidism. Fine? Clear? Okay. So now, in hypothyroidism, you have one disease known as cretinism. So cretinism is hypothyroidism in a pregnant woman. When a woman is pregnant, so the child will be born with lesser metabolic rate synthesis, and the child will also be born with less IQ, etc. So hypothyroidism is also common in girls. So this leads to irregular menstrual cycle. Yes, Shamita, hello, very happy good evening. So thank you so much for joining my lecture. So please do like, share and subscribe. Yes, good evening. Okay. So similarly, what is hyperthyroidism? So hyperthyroidism leads to enlargement of the thyroid gland. So that is goiter. So we call it as exophthalmic goiter. In hypothyroidism, we also have Hashimoto's disease. Okay, so remember Hashimoto. So you all love writing hashtag, right? So that is with respect to hypothyroidism. Okay. So what is the function of thyroid gland? So it helps in the regulation of basal metabolic rate. So your basal metabolic rate is mainly represented by your thyroid gland. That is why when a pregnant woman is having less amount of thyroid gland, the metabolic synthesis of the baby is not very efficient. It supports the process of RBC formation. So it controls the metabolism of carbohydrates, proteins and fats. So we do not know the entire metabolic pathway, so I cannot explain you how it is used in the metabolism of your carbohydrates, proteins and fats. So maintenance of water and electrolyte balance. So these are the functions of the thyroid hormone, yes, which are equally important. So please remember iodine, wherever you have iodine, it is related to your metabolism, okay, and to some extent it is also related to your RBC production, your metabolism of your fats, proteins and carbohydrates. It also maintains your water and your electrolyte balance. So thyroid gland also secretes another hormone that is known as thyrocalcitonin. The thyrocalcitonin regulates the blood calcium level. So it is hypocalcemic. So it reduces the blood calcium level. So how is this? So thyroid gland also has another hormone, thyrocalcitonin, right? So this reduces blood calcium level. So this is known as hypocalcemia or hypocalcemic hormone. So who is the opposite to this? That is your parathyroid hormone, right? So that is known as PTH. So this increases blood calcium levels. So this is known as hypercalcemic hormone. Right? So when the normal calcium level is very less, when the calcium is below the normal level, then your parathyroid hormone will be activated. When your calcium level is above the needed level, then your thyrocalcitonin will be activated. Okay, you should remember this, so you will have a question based on this concept as well. Okay, done? Okay, so thymus is small, so we'll finish off thymus. So thymus is located between your lungs, behind your sternum and towards the aorta. It plays a major role in the development of immune system. It is basically involved in the synthesis of your T lymphocyte. It also produces one hormone, only one hormone, that is your thymosin. Fine. So this thymosins play a major role in the differentiation of T lymphocytes and to some extent in the production of your antibodies along with B lymphocyte. So we know T lymphocytes stimulate your cell-mediated immunity and B lymphocytes stimulate your humoral-mediated immunity. So thymus gets degenerated in old individuals, so that is why older people have less immunity. So this is your thymus. Thymus produces only one hormone, that is your thymosins. So we'll continue with the remaining in the next class. So as of now, I am done with hypothalamus, which produces two hormones, releasing and inhibiting hormone. Then talking about pituitary, I spoke about the 6 hormones of pars distalis, 1 hormone of pars intermedium and 2 hormones which are stored by a neurohypophysis. Then we went on to talk about your thyroid, your parathyroid gland. And then we went to talk about your pineal gland, which produces melatonin, and then finally your thymus gland, which produces one hormone, that is thymosins. I hope till this is clear. Yes. So I will finish the chapter in the next class. So each chapter I'll try to finish off in 2 days so that I can give you a recap of all the chapters before your exam. So don't worry, you have a motivational session coming up very soon. So mostly on Sunday you will have a motivation session. How to use presence of mind or what is common sense. So that will be the topic on Friday. So tomorrow we are talking about human reproduction. So we are talking about gametogenesis and fertilization. So please join me at 5 p.m. tomorrow. So don't miss the lecture. So I will quickly tell you about what is gametogenesis, that is spermatogenesis, oogenesis. We'll also talk about menstrual cycle and if possible, we'll finish off the process of fertilization. Okay. So thank you for making my class very interesting. So without you, it will be very boring and I'm looking forward to interact more. Hi Siddhant. So thank you so much for joining my lecture, but you are towards the time when I'm about to say bye. But still, thank you so much for joining my section today. Yeah, that's fine. No issues. So please do like, share and subscribe. So tomorrow come exactly at 5 p.m. But I'm so happy seeing you here. So thank you so much. So please stay safe. So take care, stay healthy because health is more important. Your exams are nearing. So this is me wishing you more and more. So stay tuned and take care. Bye. This is me signing off.